Hello friends, another video in a series on what is inside the TAR reports and how they can help you with your business. So we're going to log in. And so you've got the main screen here. We're going to click on is view a TAR report. Now there's a bunch of TAR reports up here and I'm going to have a video for each one, but the one I'm going to take a look at right now is resale submarket closed listing metrics. And you see we've got the counties of Wake, Orange, Johnston, Durham, and Chatham. This report is uploaded monthly. And the format's the same for each of the counties. The explanation of all the metrics is right here on the first page. We're not going to go over that because we'll just go over this on a page by page basis. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at closed sales by month. So why is this important to you? Well, it's important to understand what time of year you're marketing your property in. Our market historically has a bell curve to it, in terms of June being the peak of closings and December and January being the bottom. So when you're doing your CMA, we're doing this in May, you really want to know what's going to happen historically in terms of the next 30 to 60 to 90 days. And you can see that May and June are historically the best months in the market for that. So just be aware of that. That's a historical pattern. And then be aware of what's happening. This is an April comparison compared to April of last year. So that's a trend that you need to know. You need to know if this seasonal pattern of a bell curve is repeating. This year it started out repeating in terms of January, February, March, but now it has decreased in April. You need to understand that trend, know why it's happening. The other thing you really need to know about is prices. Now, this is all monthly. This is median sales price on the top, and this is the median sales price per square foot. So there's two things you need to know about this. One is the current trend. If you want to look at a current trend in a 3-month period, you can look at January to February. You can see that trend is going upward, both in the median sales price and in the median sales price per square foot. And you want to look at the trend from April of this year versus April of last year. Well, it's 474 back then, 438 here. You can see that the trend is down. So A, you need to understand that trend, and then B, you need to understand how to apply time of sale adjustments. So this is what I use in terms of when I do time of sale adjustments, and it's really been a crazy market the last 2 years because prior to COVID, we rarely did time of sale adjustments. Then post-COVID, we did time and sale adjustments, and then 2021 we did like 1 to 2 to 3% per month time adjustments, and now based on what happened in interest rates last year, we've had negative time of sale adjustments. So you actually can have positive and negative ones. So I know I'm talking fast, but if you were to if your most recent comp was here, 480 in June, remember it's contract date, it's not closing date, and you're comparing it to almost 440 here. You could just, for this example, make a $40,000 negative time of sale adjustment. But if your comp was in December, 410 versus 438 is about $25,000. So you can make a $25,000 time of sale adjustment there. So that's how you utilize this. This is how appraisers utilize this data in terms of making time of sale adjustments. And it is important. We'd love to have all our comps within 30 to 60 days, but that's really rare in a lot of subdivisions. So there could be a time when you're doing a CMA and you have to go back to an April contract date or a June contract date or a December contract date. And you can see that if you just use these as sales prices and applied that to the subject, and the subject is giving us a current value of here, you'd miss the market. You'd miss it high in each of these months and you'd miss it low in each of these months. So utilize this graph. I utilize it in all my appraisal reports to A, determine and acknowledge what the price trends are, convey that to your buyer and your seller, and then use these for your time of sale adjustments on your CMA. Other parts of this are really just informative in terms of conveying market conditions. If you go back a year ago, this is a percentage of closed resales where sales price exceeded original list price. It was 82% last year. It's 34%. Once again, this is a trend. Trend peaked a year ago, went all the way down in January, and now the trend is peaking upwards. So that is important for you to be aware of that. Days on market. Now remember, this is a tough one. You got to kind of pay attention to how you use this data because you don't want to infer to your buyer or your seller a specific DOM for a property that they're looking at. We'll go over something in one of the next pages that will show you how you can use DOM metrics for your buyer, but this is really just informational purposes in terms of where we were a year ago and where we are now, which is still very, very low. Now, this is the one where I would use this with your seller. You're going to have chances or opportunities when you're doing a CMA when there's going to be a disagreement in terms of list price. And I'm going to defer that you are the correct list price on this. So there's really two roads that you can go. You can go with your price or the seller's price. Most of the time the seller is wrong. So you can see from a days on market, we're at 10 days if there is an agreement on list price between the listing agent and the seller and it is priced correctly. And there's 37 days if there is a disagreement between the two and that is mispriced. So it's about 20 to 30 days in terms of how much longer you would like to have your relationship with your seller if you cannot agree on the correct original list price. Next one is, once again, just kind of informative, but it will also tell you when you're looking at it from a buyer standpoint, you're representing your buyer, how do you use this data? Well, if 55% of the houses have been on the market for 10 days, right, that's their closing date, and you get to the 11th day, all of a sudden you're going to see a little bit of a discount. So here's this top line right here, 0 to 10 days. You can see that they're selling for about 2% above. But if you have a house that's on the market for 11 to 20, you can see right here, we're going from 98 to 95 to 96 to 93 to 92. So that's very powerful information for you to know and very powerful information for your buyer to know, because you certainly wouldn't want to go into a house that's been on the market for 180 days and offer them full list. And so you would like to have some guidance in terms of what you should offer. And once again, it's not necessarily, it's a weird thing. It's not necessarily based upon the price or the comps or anything like that. It's based upon days on market and that discount from an original list price. But you can see as you go up in days on market, the discount goes from 2% to 5% to 4%, 7%. So it is kind of linear in terms of the higher the days on market, the more of a discount that you can accept or that will be accepted by the seller. This other graph, once again, goes back to our relationship. If you have that correct list price, 101%. If you don't, it's going to be about an 8% discount. And that should kind of match up with days on market as well. So once again, those are the things you need to convey to your seller. And then this last one is a heat map. It's of Wake County. There are heat maps for the other counties as well. The red is where the highest number of price dropping sellers are. So why this is important? Well, there's a couple things that you need to know as a background as to, if you look at 27526 as a zip code in Fuquay Varina, why is there so many price dropping sellers down there? Well, the first and foremost explanation is that's the most amount of new construction. And if you look at these dark red areas, zip codes, this is really where you have the most amount of new construction. That's where they had to drop price in the fourth quarter. So once again, why is this important for you to know? Because if you're representing your buyer, you know that price discounts will be more accepted in these zip codes. If you're representing your seller, you really need to price your house against what a new construction alternatives are, because there's a bunch of new construction alternatives down there, and you need to price it at a discount for that. So this report is my go-to report from an appraisal standpoint, and I encourage you to read it. It's updated on a monthly basis because there's a lot of things that change in this market on a monthly basis that you, as new agents or experienced agents, need to be aware of. So hope this is informative.